You open the bag just to try one. 20 minutes later, the bag is empty. You're not hungry, but you're not done either. Something keeps pulling your hand back in, and you know it's happening. You can watch yourself do it, and still not stop. Most people call that a lack of willpower. The food industry is counting on you to believe that, because the moment you blame yourself, you stop asking the more uncomfortable question. Why was this designed to feel impossible to stop? There is a number, a precise point where sugar, salt, and fat hit the brain at exactly the right ratio, and every defense your body has just quietly stops working. Food engineers call it the bliss point. Your ancient brain never saw it coming. Go back 15 million years. The planet is cooling, forests are shrinking, fruit is disappearing from entire regions. Your ancestors are starving, and then something shifts inside them, a single genetic mutation. Suddenly, even the smallest taste of sugar hits differently. The body grabs it, converts it to fat, fast. That mutation kept entire bloodlines alive through the cold. It's still inside you, sitting there, unchanged. Sugar in the ancient world was rare, a ripe fig, a wild honeycomb found by accident, maybe once a week, often less. Fat came from an animal you spent days tracking across open ground. Salt meant walking to a mineral spring or licking rock. So the brain built a reward system around that scarcity. Find sugar, secure fat, grab salt, and when you do, dopamine floods in. That signal carries one message. This is important. Don't stop. Come back tomorrow. Bring the tribe. For millions of years, that system worked perfectly because sugar and fat and salt were always separate things. Spread across a landscape you had to physically cross to find. You never stumbled on a honeycomb packed inside a piece of salted meat. That combination didn't exist anywhere in nature until someone built a factory to make it. In the 1970s, a food researcher named Howard Moskowitz started running experiments on sugar concentration. He found something the industry had completely missed. More sugar doesn't mean more pleasure. The feeling rises, peaks, then drops. There's one precise ratio where the pleasure is strongest. Not too sweet, not too little. Exactly right. He called it the bliss point. Then he mapped the same curve for salt, for fat, for every ingredient separately, then combined them. For one soda company alone, his team tested 61 different recipes, 4,000 separate tasting sessions, just to find the exact ratio the brain couldn't walk away from. And it worked. The same method went into the pasta sauce sitting on your shelf right now, into the bread that tastes slightly sweet for no obvious reason, into the flavored yogurt that quietly contains more sugar per serving than ice cream. But there's another layer most people never hear about. It's not just what's in the food, it's how fast it vanishes. Chips, crackers, puffed snacks, they're engineered to dissolve on your tongue before your stomach gets the signal that anything arrived. The brain registers almost no calories consumed, so it never sends the signal to stop. You keep eating because your body genuinely believes you haven't started. Sugar, salt, fat, all three hitting together. No fullness signal, no off switch. The dopamine surges, and somewhere deep in your brain, the signal fires. This is the most important thing you found today. Finish it. Think about what that means for a second. A team of people with PhDs spent years engineering that moment. That's not an accident. That's a strategy. Here's where it gets harder to sit with. That dopamine surge isn't free. The brain protects itself from being flooded too often. It starts pulling out its own dopamine receptors. Fewer receptors. Weaker signal, higher threshold. A 2001 study in the Lancet found something researchers hadn't expected. People who regularly eat ultra-processed food show significantly fewer dopamine receptors than those who don't. Researchers noted a similar pattern in studies of cocaine and alcohol dependency. In chronic alcohol use, the brain was responding to the food the way it responds to substances that hijack reward systems, and the result follows the same logic. The baseline quietly drops. An apple that once tasted like something now tastes like nothing. A real meal stops registering as a reward. The reward system has rebuilt itself around the engineered food, and you need more of it just to feel okay. Not because you're weak, because your brain is doing the only thing it knows how to do, adapting to the world it's living in. The problem is this world was designed to make that adaptation work against you. Your body's relationship with food hasn't changed in 10,000 years. The food itself changed in 50. That's not a character flaw. That's a collision between ancient wiring and industrial speed. The circuits that helped your ancestors push through a famine are now being studied in labs and used to sell you things. But here's what the science also shows. The brain that adapted toward engineered food can adapt back. 2 to 4 weeks of eating whole food appears to help restore dopamine sensitivity over time. The sensitivity returns. An apple starts tasting like something again. That's not motivational talk. That's what the research actually points to. But either way, one thing stays true. Knowing this doesn't make the bag easier to close. It changes what question you're asking. Not, why can't I stop? But, why was this built so I couldn't? Your brain was shaped by scarcity. It learned to chase what was rare. Nobody told it that one day the rare things would be stacked floor to ceiling, in every aisle, precisely engineered to feel like the most important thing you've ever found.